all out there, we're constant out there. You need to keep up with that stuff and just be out there and tell yourself that it's not easy. It is not easy to do so. Absolutely not. Because the problem is that how do I step into that confidence and courage every day and take action? But it is gonna pay off.
Welcome again to Levelin Up with Brigham Blackham, your spot to not only improve your business, but to invest in real estate as well. We are so blessed to have Elian Haan today, and she is a new friend of mine. I'm so excited. She's a speaker, she's an author, and she definitely knows about mastering the basics. Because I've heard this from multiple people that the masters do the basics better. And if we can identify the basics and then master the basics, we are on our way to become those masters. So Elian, tell us a little bit about yourself and welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Brigham. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me as your guest. Yeah, I'm excited to share. Always excited to share. Sharing is caring, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. And honestly, not always successful till I knew what to do. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell us a little bit about why people should listen to you. Because I mean, you've been an author, you've had like award-winning books, you've been able to go and create lots of different things in your life that are making a positive impact. Tell us a little bit of how you came up with your concepts and what is like that driving force, the why behind your business.
Absolutely. So yeah, I was always, my why, my purpose is always helping others. That was since I came out of the ta-da, right? Little girl, like, okay, I'm going to change the world. I literally said that when I was young, but I don't remember that. But my friend told me that's what I always said. I'm going to change the world, one person at a time. But I was a mover, a dancer, a shaker. So I went in and stepped into the professional fitness and wellness business. So that is most of my career, beside a couple of mishaps and 3 jobs a day and things like that, because it was definitely not always profitable. But I loved helping people always. And I think that if you're in the fitness and wellness business, you know, at some point I was running my own studio and that went well. And I had 4 or 5 classes a day with people. And I came to find out that it's kind of the same running your business there as running your hair salon or barber shop, right? You just hear everything about the kids and the family and your life coaching as well. And you're giving somewhat of an advice. And I always said I did everything wrong, so I should know how to do it right now, and what to choose for myself. The things that I really, as a business owner, didn't see and didn't focus on in the early years is that what I've learned to appreciate the people that are already there in your business. And not to be really, I always had the anxiety attacks, right? I would take something really personal. That was the first thing that I really learned through my journey of self-discovery, stepping into, about 10 years ago into the life coaching business. First worked for an organization, for a large corporate, and then on my own again, the last 3-4 years. But definitely thinking about not taking things personal and just being grateful for the people that are in your corner, right? That are in your tribe. That's always the first thing. And I can give you a great example about that. So I had this studio, I had this yoga, fitness, wellness, beautiful building, spa next door, the whole bit. But if somebody would come and try out and they come to you and they want to have your service, but they might go next door the next day, I was devastated. And that's what I mean with that, right? I would take it personal. Like, they don't like my yellow walls. They don't like the way I am doing my job. They don't like what I'm teaching. They didn't buy a membership. And I was just all over the place, just down, 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 instead of being grateful for the 10, 20 people that were in that group at that moment, right? So taking that personal, I learned to just let everything slide off your shoulders and just move on and keep going. And I think for entrepreneurs and business, it's so important because there's so many people around us that we try to that are doing the same thing. Real estate, right? I live in a very small town and we have a million gazillion realtors. So it's like everybody is just like, what are they doing? What are they doing? What is the new thing? What's the next thing? Just focus on being yourself and being authentic, and don't take it personal if it doesn't work out.
And don't take it don't take it personal. That's something that as you get into entrepreneurship, there is a certain amount of flexibility. And I love that flexibility. And the thing is, every single customer also has that flexibility to choose, hey, I actually do want to do business with you, or not. And that's okay.
Yes.
If you have someone that chose to do business with you and then they're like, man, I don't like you, or we don't jive, that's actually great, because now they can go find someone that they do jive with and they do well with. And we don't have that that resistance, you know?
Yeah.
But when
Yes.
you have someone that comes into your business and they love your culture, they love what you do, and they're here because they want to be, man, what a blessing. I love how you said, just be grateful for those people. I'm so thankful for the people that are in my organization as well.
Yeah, and the
It
people that
makes a huge
support
difference.
you. Yeah, your support system, your tribe, the people that always say, "Oh, that's awesome what you're doing," right? Because I also remember a time in my life where there was a lot of negativity around. There is people that don't like it, why what you're doing, or don't necessarily, appreciate it or understand it for that matter.
Yeah.
Right? Going back to, you might have family members that wanted you to be, the perfect bank teller and not, get a job from 9 to 5 and not step in that entrepreneurship. So that's really difficult to explain sometimes to people that wanted other things for you. So in that sense, be grateful for the people that do understand and that support you and that are always cheering you on. I always say you only need people on the balcony, except for those two Muppets, right? The grumpy ones. But you only need people that are like, yeah, the next step that you're choosing to do, and just people that are cheering you on and doing the Kermit for you, right? That kind of thing is just really important. And I started seeing that just late and not immediately, because I think that, crawling back in the closet and being insecure about people that leave or don't want to do business with you, that's the first step to overcome it. I think it's just insecurity. It's a form of, self-esteem. It's, the courage to just do it, and just keep going on, that kind of thing. And those are major things I think that we have to overcome as well.
Yeah, I think what you brought up was awesome. There is definitely courage in being an entrepreneur. And if you could really delineate and say, do these basics, like this is the thing that if any entrepreneur in almost any business, if you can boil it down to these 3 or 4 things, what would you give a brand new entrepreneur, maybe even talking to yourself from 10, 15 years ago? Just do these things well, and you'll start to build a solid foundation. What would you say?
It's not easy. I'm working with many clients that are starting their business as a coach, and a lot of my clientele are leaders, execs, or they stepping into their own business, or they're also starting up. And that whole thing is all about that courage and self-esteem and being yourself, and not trying to kind of look around you again and say, oh my gosh, but she's doing so well, or what am I doing wrong? Stay in that really good place of, I'm an expert at this, I can do it, and I just need to move forward and do it every day. And what I learned about business is that I didn't know anything about business.
Yeah.
So in a sense of, yeah, now I have everything ready, and I had this gym, and later on I step into my own in my own business space, and I have this office, and I had everything decorated, and I had the 2 couches ready, right, to start my coaching business. But I didn't know how to sell myself. And that is really important for new people. That has to do with that courage, that has to do with that self-esteem, that has to do with being creative and creating constant ideas that will promote you. And then you have to step out there, part of that courage, you step into that selfie mode, right? And just do it. You are the face of your business. Somebody had to tell me that, but you are the face of your business. Well, but I hate it, selfies and promotion and Facebook. Do it. Just do it, because you are the face of your business, and you can put something around that, put something out there, or put a short little notice that this is what I do. I just keep doing that. And consistency and being persistent with it and doing it with passion. I think that's what I would tell everybody, and learn about business, learn about, you know, the fact that you have to say, I'm good at this, right? I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing. Well, I didn't know that part of the business, that I could promote myself by saying, I'm an expert. What? How dare you say that? You know, my inner self would go like, you know, but how dare you say, no, I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing. Why? Because my coach that I worked with, business coach for 2 years, told me, what did you invest? What did you invest to get to the point that you are an entrepreneur, that you have those certifications, that you have those diplomas, that you are doing the work? How many masterminds are you going to every week that you learn from? How many workshops and seminars do I do every week, right? That makes me the expert because I'm doing it.
Right.
And I can't presume and assume that other people already know that. I know it because I'm there. And I think that's very important when it comes to that self-esteem, putting yourself as an expert out there, and then taking that courage just to do it. Just do it.
I love that. You know, I think the courage to say I am an expert, especially in the beginning, as you are in that learning phase, that development stage, it's a little scary, because are there going to be people that are a farther along expert than you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But are you doing the work? One of my favorite sayings is, are you identifying the work and doing the work? Have you identified it? And if you have identified the work and you are doing it consistently, you do those constant daily actions, like with my friend Hugh Zaretsky, I barely had him on my podcast last week. He talked about constant daily actions, moving towards your goal. Even if it's like 1% today, I'm gonna get 1% closer. I'm gonna make sure that I'm in the right direction.
Yeah.
Every single time we make a choice to say, I am going to live in my genius zone, I'm going to do the things necessary today to become who I need to be, that I can attract everybody to me that wants my services and is excited to work with me. It's very different than just saying, will you please come and buy my product? I just want you to come and try it out.
Yeah.
Oh, it gives me goosebumps to think of that type of desperation. So with you, what is the way that you were able to build courage and confidence in the beginning? What were those ways that you did that?
Just, you mentioned it. One of the things that I learned working with the coach, and I think everybody needs to coach. Everybody needs to coach. Is you need that support, you need that outside reflection, you need that outside feedback, you need people that are encouraging you, that you don't know, but that are your coach and becoming your best friend and running the marathon with you, right? My coach always told me, people don't want advice. You're not sitting there and telling them what to do from a book. They just want to be listened to and heard, right? And that's very important. And from there on, you start together developing a program. If I work with new entrepreneurs or people that are starters and that want to overcome that courage, I do exactly what you just said. Everyday action. I call that eat the frog first, right? You get up and you do the things you don't want to do. Yeah. First thing, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do social media today, or I don't want to do that 30-minute, promo video, or 30 seconds, or I don't want to do all these emails, right? You just don't want to do it. Make a list. That's one of my planning things that I do with people. We plan to do it the first thing in the morning, get it out of the way. If then towards the end of the day, you're not really okay in your shoes that day, you're not really feeling it, go take a nap, go do something fun, go play outside, do something completely different. That's why you became the entrepreneur. But the days that you are the moments and the hours that you are really, really productive, eat a frog and do the rest. Just do it. And every day when you step into that action, I always start with affirmations during in the morning, right? Just tell yourself that you're the expert, you're fabulous. Good morning, handsome. Good morning, beautiful, right?
I love that.
And what people think that's nonsense. There are always people around you that think that's nonsense because it's over the top or too much. But this is our society. What we do need to do right now, we're all out there, we're constantly out there. You need to keep up with that stuff and just be out there and tell yourself that it's not easy. It is not easy to do so. Absolutely not. Because the problem is that how do I step into that confidence and courage every day and take action? But it is gonna pay off. The first 3 years, I didn't have anybody in my webinars. I didn't have anybody in my courses. I just did it anyway. I was sitting there for an hour and a half talking to myself on my course. And then, just do it again the next month and just do it again and do it again. And you're creating that. What people really want is to, get to know you, like you, and trust you, those big words in business. Well, I put it out there anyway. I did my course today and nobody knew that there was nobody there. You just to build a little bit of credibility. You're so excited. You did it anyway. And I learned to, rehearse that script over and over again. And the next month there were 2, and the next month there were 20. And that credibility builds up, and people don't need to know that you did that really. But you know what I mean? Little secret, don't tell anybody. But
no, I think
do it.
Having those reps, whether you have an audience or not, you are doing the work. And if you are just thinking about doing the work, that's not doing the work. If you are writing down about how you're going to do the work, you're not doing the work. It's actually getting in those reps of saying, I'm doing this class. Oh, look, nobody bought it. I'm still doing the class. And I'm going to make sure I get those iterations. And I'm going to put that on YouTube or on Facebook, whatever it is. And you repurpose those and you get experience. One of the things I love about being an entrepreneur is every single experience that I have, that extra knowledge that I gain, it is now a deeper well that I can draw from to help others. Every single time, good and bad, they're all neutral because those events can happen for us. I love that. So, Elian, as you have been developing into an author and a speaker, what is one bit of encouragement that you would say, hey, this is something that would help you so much in this journey? What would you say to a budding speaker or author? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's 2 things there. Thank you for asking that. As an author, I wrote a lot of things down always as a form of a journaling kind of thing, right? Coming through the difficult years and just kept dealing with that insecurity and I don't like myself. And no, everybody has that past, whatever you want to label it, right? Trauma, mental things. Just we have those things. We have that one thing in chirping our ear that go, don't do it, or you were never good enough. And all that's limiting beliefs, everything that we're dealing with is part of the process. And especially you are really constantly confronted with that if you are an entrepreneur, constantly, because you have to step into that courage and that place of just do it all the time. There needs to be some money coming in. And so at some point I realized that when I started working for a company as a wellness counselor, and I knew that a lot of trauma was part of the things that we don't do. So as a trauma expert, I am telling people to journal and start writing things down. What is holding you back? What is that inner voice? What's your daddy telling you you're not good enough, right? My case. So in that sense, it was always there, and we have to work through that first before we can start telling our story and write it down. So I did about 15 years of work and growth and developments while being in business, but just working on myself, like how can I get that last little bit of, oh, I can't do it. I'm still walking into that wall. And I have those mornings, I just can't do it. I'm so nervous, I can't do it. If you want to overcome that, you got to get all that stuff out of the way. And I have 2-3 techniques for that to do so. If people are working with me, that's a big process. It's not therapy. But it constantly, what is it that I'm dealing with? How can I turn that immediately around into my mindset and think different about it and go out there, right? And then secondly, if you're talking about speaking, so I wrote that down. That became my autobiography. And that is kind of like a book. It's called 60 Miles from Neiman's, because I live 60 miles from Neiman's. I moved all over the world from Amsterdam, New York, to Dallas, to Los Angeles, back to Texas. Now I am in Texas, so I live 60 miles from Neiman's, a store that I never went into. But it was a fun, grippy title because my friends kept saying, why are you moving so far away? You're 60 miles from Neiman's, right? But I wrote that book. It was my story of what in the world happened? How did I get here? And then what did I do with it? So the second and last part of the book is lessons learned, life lessons learned. And with that, I started, of course, speaking. So now we're talking speaking, right? I got out there, and at the same time, working with another coach, a speaking coach, I realized that it's a big deal to go out there and talk to people, small groups, big groups, freebies, the whole bit, just do it. Because again, for a business owner, an entrepreneur, a starter, anybody, it's very important to constantly get out there and just kind of relay a message. What do you do? How do you do it? Why should people work with you? That kind of thing. And speaking is very popular right now. So I mean, I have a podcast just like you do. I have, the speaking opportunities. But in the beginning, it really just was to get clients and just tell your story. And just like I told my story from a vulnerable point, like how in the world did all that stuff happen to me? And then I did everything wrong. Oh, no wonder, because I had so much, garbage left behind. And now I start making the right choices, right? I learned from it. So speaking and throwing your story out there is it's a form of credibility building as well. And you can always get one or two clients out of that opportunity, to talk to somebody, to talk to a group.
That reminds me of the reason that a lot of us start may not be the right reason, but the reason we stay matters. So for instance, I used to be a missionary for my church. I had a lot of missionaries the first couple of weeks, even the first couple of months, you're like, I'm here because I have to be, or it's something that my parents pushed upon me, or whatever it was. They got out there and they had maybe the wrong attitude. But as soon as they said, you know what, I'm here because I want to be here, I want to serve, and I want to give back. As soon as they made that shift, I noticed this even in myself, when I made that shift to, this is not about me, this is about everyone that I can make a positive impact in. I made it so I could learn Mandarin Chinese faster. I was able to connect with people more because it wasn't about me. If they rejected me, I was like, hey, that's your loss, that's okay. We're going to go to the next person that is ready, able, and willing. Because in business, we're not here to force our message on anybody. We're here to be living our very best that we can out loud. And when people see that we are that bridge for them and we can make whatever it is that they want a little bit faster for them, or a little bit more fun, or a little bit easier, then they're like, oh, I'm happy to pay for that bridge. I'm happy to have you be that coach that gets me to the next level. And that's one of the things I absolutely love, is you said,
I love what
make sure you have the right motivations for staying in this. You might start as, hey, I just want more clients. Please come and listen to me, please. But it's not how we start. It's how we finish that matters. I hear this from
something up
my
that's
coach.
very
Oh, go ahead.
It's very important to me to have that internal motivation. And one of the things that I wrote about in my book, and it's the first life coaching chapter, is letting go of expectations. If you just live because and work and do something, even if it's your own business, or because daddy owned the business and now you're stepping up to that entrepreneurship, right? Or something like that. But if you do that for your parents, your spouse, your friends, it look good, whatever your reasons, you're doing it for, those are external reasons, and those are never valid. They're going to bite you later on, right? They're going to come back at you and go, because you're not in it, you're not passionate, you're not doing what your heart wants you to do. It's not really your God-given purpose, right? And as a faith-based business owner, I like to say that because, God kept telling me, you're out there to help, so do it, and don't go in the closet. It's a very valid point that you made. Another one that you said is, what was the thing? Oh yeah, it's like if you're in business, you really want to find out how you can differentiate yourself just a tiny bit from the others, right? It's not always, it's a little bit over the top word to constantly say niche, 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 but what is that little extra special thing that you're doing for people? What is the outcome for them? Is it just to make them laugh, or you make them happy, or they walk out of the door with crazy energy and they just feel so good being around you, or they got those 3-4 nuggets that they just needed to hear that day?
Right.
A lot of business owners in the beginning, and I can totally relate to that, the first 10 years is like, you're looking at it, you're doing all the work, but you don't know how to sell it, because we're constantly very busy as well to prove ourselves, right? And you mentioned that it's about the outcome for others. It's not about me.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to those selfies, like, do I look good? It's not important. It is about what I can do for others. I'm throwing that out today by means of a selfie, maybe, or by means of a Facebook post. But I'm throwing that out there because if you don't work with me, you're missing out. And it's great that you said that, because I always love to say that. You're missing out. But all right, bye. Next one. Right?
Exactly.
It's just like that feeling that once you get and step into that feeling for yourself, it is just boom. It just boom. If I step in that feeling on Sundays and I feel it, that's why I say step in that feeling, and I feel that excitement. I'm going to get 4 clients this week. I got 4 clients this week.
That's awesome.
And just feel it. Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy. I make it look so easy, but it's not easy. But we have to let go of these expectations of others and just feel that you're so excited about what you can do.
You know,
Yeah.
I love the way you said you feel what it is that you are manifesting. It's one thing to just think about it, because I don't really believe that people just think and it happens. You have to process, go all the way there in vision, and then figure out, now what is the work that has to be done to be able to have that become a reality, and who do I need to be to make sure that I'm doing the right things, and then I can have those things. My friend Greg always says it's be plus do equals have. It's not be or do. You have to be both.
Yes,
You
I like
have to
that.
have both. It's the powers in that and. So, Elaine, what if you could say one pattern that you've noticed in successful businesses, like one thing that you're like, man, if they do this consistently, it makes a massive shift. What are some of those basic patterns that you've noticed in business?
I think it has again to do with taking action and being consistent and do it all the time, and planning, right? A lot of people, I think, what is it? 90% of our people around us, right? Our country, maybe people in general, I don't know how far the span goes, but there's factual numbers that 90% of people don't step into that success because they're not planning.
Hmm.
And I am a planner from A to Z. Like I said, eat the frog, don't just do it, just be there. Just be with you at 9 o'clock in the morning and put that lipstick on, right? Just do it. I love
Oh, I
it.
forgot my lipstick. Oh no. Darn it.
Thank you. I just love being with you. You're so full of energy. I love it. But it's that whole feeling. It's a feeling that you have to have, that feeling that you're in the right place. Secondly, you gotta know your why, your vision, your mission statement. Just do it. You be out there, throw it out there. In the third place, beside feeling and doing it and believing it, right? That mindset, the whole expert mindset. Now step into that, feel it, be excited about it, even if nothing happens. Let that slide away. Don't get at the end of the day, right? Let it slide away. But consistency, that planning, and this is one of the things that I always say is very important, that me time needs to be in there, because as helpers and other people helpers and coaches and realtors and everybody that's constantly working for profit and entrepreneurship, we are also we have a great tendency of forgetting about ourselves. Right, we need to take that me time, that self-care. We need to take that into consideration and forgive ourselves for not doing something for part of the day. Right, just relax if you need that. I'm a workaholic, seriously, but sometimes I just need to say to myself, really, Elian, because I get upset if I just read a little book for a while and I kind of nip out on the couch there and kind of sleep, and oh my gosh, I lost maybe 3 hours or something, and get upset with yourself. No, that's nonsense. I used to do that, be really upset, like, oh my, I just cannot just sit here and do nothing. But I came from that background of, oh, you can't just sit down and do nothing, right? You gotta make it happen. But it's a false belief, I think, that sometimes we have. Sometimes we just need to take that nippity nap at the end of the afternoon very, very serious. We need it in. Yeah.
Let me give an analogy. This is one that I used on a Sunday school class, like probably 20 years ago, but it was a really good one. You ready for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I told these kids, I think, man, I feel like they were like 10 or 12. I can't remember which class it was, but I had these balloons and I said, all right, I need you to keep the balloon in the air. And I was like, all right, cool. And he was able to do one just fine. I was like, all right, here's two. He's like, oh, okay. And he's pretty good. He was able to get two. And he's like, all right, here's 3 or 4. And now 5 and 6. And then he kept dropping the balloons on the floor. And I said, all you need to do is just keep the balloons in the air.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too hard. And he started getting upset. And I was like, all right, your directive is to keep them in the air. Are there other people in here? And he's like, yeah. What if you put those balloons and you said, you're in charge of this red one. Now you're in charge of this green one. And you're in charge of the blue one. And they were all able to keep one balloon in the air almost the whole time. And he said, well, could I set it down? I was like, well, is it in the air? He's like, well, no, if I set it I set it down, it's not in the air. I was like, well, is it touching the ground? He's like, no. It's like, well, do you have to be the one that keeps it in the air? And he's like, technically, no. So you could give it to other people. And as you're building that leverage of everyone has their role, everyone has their focus, and they can do their job really, really effectively, then those balloons can stay in the air. And when one falls, it's not that big of a deal. You can pick it up and keep going.
Yeah.
And I love that visual and that analogy, because sometimes in business, especially in the beginning, your chief bottle washer and dishwasher, and you do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
But as soon as you can identify, hey, this is the balloon I'm focusing on. Maybe I need to delegate this to a bookkeeper. I'm going to delegate this portion to some, like a virtual assistant. And you can start to section off roles rather than just tasks. Your mind is much more clear, and you can focus on doing the one thing that you do best.
Yes.
As best as you can. So what did that make you think of? I'm sure there's some ideas that popped into your head.
I love the balloon analogy. I mean, we can do it. Teamwork makes the dream work. We gotta have a team. Something that I didn't allow myself, of course, in the beginning to do. I mean, not everybody. In the beginning, you're just starting out. Every $100 is like, whoa, great. When you're just starting out, you're just not maybe wanting to invest yet. But once you get there, I have an amazing virtual team. If they not even can do it, then I have Fiverr. I'm a huge fan of Fiverr, right? Call them and bam, next day is done. All these things, if you don't have, and you feel overwhelmed, you don't have the time to do the things that are difficult for you. I'm not a back office person. I don't like to do CRMs and things like that. I just don't even know where to start with that. So did I get help? Did I ask for it? Asking help as an entrepreneur is a good thing.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything that we shouldn't be doing. We need to build a team of people that understand us really well. What do you want to post on Facebook, if that's your Facebook, if that's your thing, or LinkedIn is your thing, or Instagram? What do you want to do with your YouTube videos? How do they need to look? How do they go out? I don't know all that stuff. I need to trust somebody else with that, and they get to know me. And so that's really important, because that's a big part of that team that really constantly promotes you as well. And that helps with getting out there. And in the beginning, it might be difficult to step into that, like, wow, should I have that expense? Because it's already crazy enough. I don't know. I mean, I spent thousands of dollars the first couple of years before I saw return, right? Here I'm talking to myself on that course. But just believe in yourself. Just do it, right? That is just so important. Yeah. I love the balloons. We got to have a team. We got to keep them out there. And sometimes if you're on the ground here sleeping, let the rest of the people do it for you. Yeah.
So going even deeper on that balloon analogy, this is just something that popped into my head. Sometimes we're keeping up a balloon that doesn't need to be picked up and touched at all. And we didn't identify the right things. And we focus on these things for way too long. And we don't switch tasks. Maybe it's death scrolling on social media. You're like, oh, I needed to watch that cat video. Oh, this was an awesome baseball play. Oh, that was so cool. Watching LeBron dunk over that guy. You're like, why am I doing that? You're playing with the wrong balloon, right? You put that one down and figure out what is the thing that will move the needle. What's that frog, as you said, that you need to swallow? And that comes with planning. I really think it comes with identifying what is the work. There's an expression in Chinese, 旁观者清. It's how does it is 当迷者 oh, it's whoever is playing the game is who, right, is confused. And then Pangguan Jiqing, those that are next to them see it clearly. This is one of the reasons you need a business coach.
Yeah,
Those that are in the
yeah.
middle, they're struggling. They don't know what to do often, and they don't make the right choices. But as soon as you step out of that game and you have that coach or that director, the person that can see and observe without being within the game, that's what every single person in business needs. They need somebody that is a third party, that is divorced from the situation and able to say, well, what if you chose this? Would that help? And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. You're like, exactly.
I do that.
But
It's so
I love
true.
that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I do it all the time. I see it with my clients, and they might be, just doing a lot of the right things and they're just starting great. But I can see when that little self-esteem issue started there, or when something went a little bit off there, or when they let those limiting beliefs creep in, you can see that as an outsider. And you don't see that also as a family member or a good friend. You don't want those because they're going to tell you something that hopefully in most cases you like to hear. But that's not necessarily the truth, right? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm known for my straightforward coach approach, I call that, right? You're going to hear it like, well, how did that work for you? Not.
Ooh.
So let's find a different way. And we have to hear that. And some people that love me and that are around me and friends and family, they won't say that necessarily, or we just kind of know how we are reacting and communicating with each other, but that's not always the correct way of the things that you need to hear to grow and to be in that growth mindset. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's true. You need a coach that will tell you how it is, not how you think how you think their clients want to hear it or how you want to hear it. This is the objective view. This is what you did, and here's the result of it. There's no emotion about it. It's just, this is what you did. How did that work for you? And if it wasn't good, you're like, well, what's another choice? I did a lot of improv. That's the way I taught my theater classes all through my first 7 years of my career. And I love improvisational theater. And there's one game in there that it's basically make a new choice. And it's not even that the choice was wrong. You'd hear that bell and now you make a different choice. And you hear that bell and you make another choice. And you hear that bell and you make another choice. As entrepreneurs, often we have the opportunity to make a new choice. We did it one way with this client. You're like, wow, that did not turn out the way that I thought it did. You can back up, and the next time you have that same opportunity, you're like, I'm going to make a different choice. And as we choose differently and we realign ourselves with that mission, those small little choices will start to build character, chisel away those little things that aren't working. And what you're left with is something that is absolutely amazing. So in the last minute that we have together, what is one final piece of encouragement that you would leave us with? One call to action, like, man, just do this. It makes such a huge impact.
I have a famous quote by Elian, by me, that that I've been throwing out there for years now. That is the quote on my book. It says, life doesn't get any easier, but you get better at it. And that is really the truth. You just have to give it time. You just have to learn from your mistakes, look back and see how many mountains you already climbed. Give yourself a little pat in the back once in a while, or actually every day. Don't forget your wins, because you can do it. I mean, you already did it many times before. So every time you see that mountain, you go, oh no, I can't do it. Yes, you can. You did it. We forget to look back. We forget to see our accomplishments, our investments. Life keeps happening. I don't wake up happy every day like, no. But you're just like, I go through grief and pain and sorrow and loss and just people around me that I love so much, that we go through so many things, our pets, everything, right? So it's not fun, but you definitely come to a place by reflection and by working on your mindset, by growing into your own, that life becomes easier. Because people come to me and like, oh, life got to me. No, 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 no. It's what you did with it that got to you. It wasn't life, because it doesn't get any easier.
It doesn't get any easier, but we get stronger. It's like going to the gym. It's like doing anything that's skill-based. At the beginning, it seems just absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
But as you put in the reps, you do the iterations, you make it a little bit harder, and then you do it, eventually you get stronger.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole journey is. And I'm so grateful to hear from you, Elian. Sorry, I've been trying to make sure I get my throat lubricated, but
You're
I'm so
awesome.
thankful for you. Thank you for sharing. How do people find you online?
ElianHaan.net. ElianHaan.net. There's all my links on my website to book in a free call with me. Please do a discovery call. I'm glad to give all your listeners today, if they want to work with me, a 10% discount on my offer programs. And I have a freebie on the website that is a little anxiety sheet with 10 tips for anxiety. Kind of out of the box kind of tips that are fun, free gift. ElianHaan.net. And there's all my links, of course, to YouTube and social media and all that stuff. All the crazy stuff that I'm up to. Thank you so much for having me. You're such a joy.
I
I love
appreciate
you
that,
already.
Elian. It was such a pleasure to have such a wonderful conversation with you. You shared some great basics of business. And guys, if you want more leveling up content, stick around because we are going to have another person in 3-4 minutes that you're going to absolutely love. His name is George Anderson. But guys, I'm so grateful for Elian and the wonderful things you shared with us today. Hit that like and subscribe button and continue to level up with us. Look for the how to connect with Elian in the show notes. Once again, God bless, guys. We'll see you.